You know those medicines that Americans are taking a lot, Ozempic and Wegovy and all those things, like make your appetite go away and then you lose weight. They work, right?
Okay.
So China's catching on. Turns out, I thought this is crazy. China's obese. People think of China as probably some thin country. This is not Japan. It's not Korea.
Yes.
China's obesity crisis is a sizable profit opportunity. More than half of Chinese adults are overweight or obese. Half.
Yeah.
Half. Figure expected to hit 2/3 by 2030. That's nearly 900 million people. So think about that market, right? So these companies, I want to get in there with these weight loss drugs.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, right? I just thought that was a wild stat. Like people don't think of China like that.
I think it's also quite different the way Chinese people carry weight.
Yeah.
So they don't look as fat as they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's snowballed since we left.
I understand.
Like, I mean, you also didn't spend enough time up north where a lot of people are wicked
you are
fat,
right. You are
dude.
true. You're true.
Even when I lived there.
You are true. When I went to up north, I did notice that the people were much heavier up there.
Yeah. And that's hundreds of millions.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was super fast. All these are down below, by the way, if you're new to the show. All of our links are down below. This is a fascinating article on New York Times. They went back and looked at remember the zero COVID thing? The worst lockdown in the history of mankind in China where people starved to death.
Destroyed businesses.
Pets.
Yeah.
Killed your pets
They killed your
house.
pets if you had pets.
Yeah.
They literally took children away from families.
And put them in metal boxes.
Yes, it was the most horrific thing ever. It's the fact that China always manages to do these terrible things and then pretend like nothing happened.
Dude.
It kind of makes me mad.
It makes me so crazy that people aren't still talking about this. So they obviously are with this, but like the majority of the world should still be up in arms that they literally destroyed the psyche of hundreds of millions of people. You thought you had it bad?
By the way, if you're some kind of like a anti-vaxxer or something, blame China.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to even think about a COVID vaccine if it wasn't for the Wuhan lab.
That's true.
Virology.
That's true. By the way, German spies are now pretty much confirming that it came from
the German intelligence, all along, they've said...
Well, I mean, they're saying...
Yeah, now they're saying... They've all along said that it came from the Wuhan, Institute of Virology or Chinese lab, but it was never made public. Now it's coming out public.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, it's the most logical thing. Occam's razor, right?
Occam's razor. Can you click this?
Yeah.
It was interesting. They went back to some of these neighborhoods, right? And they shut down all these businesses. So look, they're still shuttered up. And the reason is they said, your businesses were too close to each other, so you're done. We're shutting you down. And
people weren't allowed to go out, and people weren't allowed to operate businesses during that time anyway.
You know what's rich, though? Now you're not allowed to talk about that.
Yes.
So they have this economic fallout, right, of how horrible these lockdowns were, but now you can't talk about it. You can't talk about COVID anymore in China.
Yeah.
It's not a thing.
Yes.
They tried to completely vanish it. They said, nobody died of COVID, but it's done, by the way. Shut up. Don't talk about it. Remember these protests?
Yeah, remember when they took those signs down?
I took them down. You know what's funny is that these police cars that are there for surveillance are there since the protest, and they never got rid of them.
And they never will. They'll stay there now to make sure nobody goes back to that road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never forget what China did to you.
Now, look what they've done. They've changed the COVID testing booths. You can see it's got the sink. They've turned them into like postal stalls, where they sell magazines and things.
Everyone in the country multiple times a day had to line up in front of these and get tested in a crowd of other people that probably had COVID.
Which was the stupidest idea. We want to test you for COVID. Let's all go get together rather than stay isolated.
You don't do it, you go to jail.
Yes.
They will literally drag you out in hazmat suits and throw you into a metal box.
Yeah, dude, it was bad. It was very bad.
This is a fascinating article. China could rewrite history using AI and control the future. We're seeing this happen right now.
You know what pisses me off? I'm busy putting together a video, right, the other day for my channel. And I searched, where was the first glass bridge introduced or made? And it comes up with China in the Zhangjiajie or whatever.
Which is wildly untrue.
There's a famous bridge there. I think it's the longest glass bridge and the highest glass bridge. But I'm like, hang on a freaking second here. Because I asked, when did the first one come out? And they came up with that, the AI thing in Google. So then I was like, again, who invented the glass bridge? And it came up with that same Zhangjiajie bridge. I can't even remember where it is now. I haven't retained that knowledge because it wasn't important at the time. It's Zhangjiajie, okay. So, and I said, who invented the glass bridge? And it came up with that bridge. I'm like, hang on a second here. When did this bridge open? 2016. So I'm like, pretty sure there are glass bridges before 2016. So I'm like, okay, I know a couple of notable ones. I know there's one in, I think the Tower, the London...
Something or other.
Tower of London Bridge or something. There's like a London Bridge one that's glass. I'm like, when was that? That was like 2014. Okay. Then I'm like, what about that Grand Canyon skywalk? That's a glass bridge.
It is a big one.
Yeah, that was 2007.
So why are they lying?
And I keep finding glass bridges that were invented before that one.
Right.
And glass bridges, by the way, the guy who did that one in China is Israeli architect anyway. It's not a Chinese-made thing. It's just like, they paid a guy to do it. But the fact that Google it's impossible to find out the truth anymore.
Yeah.
When I search, when did the first glass bridge come out?
Yeah.
And who invented the first glass bridge? When was the first glass bridge unveiled? It keeps going back to that Chinese one.
Right. And this is one of thousands of things that we've run into.
Yeah. But it's like that Chinese one from 2016 where I know from my own knowledge that there are glass bridges that came out like a decade before, like that Grand Canyon one.
No, this is an issue because like we're running 50 to 100 queries a day, right, when we're doing research for stuff. And compound that over years now.
Yeah.
Now with this AI thing, we've noticed that it started quoting as fact Chinese sources.
Yes.
And some of these Chinese sources are AI written articles,
yes,
which are controlled by the Chinese government that lie about data. And we've talked about this before, but now it'll come up as fact that the Chinese average salary is like $41,000 a year, when in fact it's like 10.
Yes.
Right? Even in China, they admit that it's like 10.
Yeah.
Which is massively skewed to the rich, by the way.
Yes, yes.
So most people are making a shit ton less than that, right? So it's now factual because China made a factual article that now feeds into these language learning models.
It's bad. It's very worrying because even with my long history of using the internet, since it began, I was dialing up to BBSs before the internet. I know how to search for something. And I could not easily find out when the first glass bridge was ever made. I couldn't.
No.
It kept coming up with China. All the top articles, all the AI stuff, everything's trying to tell me that the stupid bridge in China is the first glass bridge, and it's not.
Now, to make this worse is take that logic that you have and apply it to the Uyghur genocide.
Yes.
Apply it to Tiananmen Square massacre.
Yes.
Apply it to the erasure of Tibet. Mm-hmm. Apply it to China's never fought in any conflicts in the past, like 60 years or whatever.
Yes.
All of these lies are now entering actual American dialogue.
Yes.
Like I'm hearing it come out in big media sources where the big commentators are talking about how China's never had an armed conflict.
Yeah.
And you're like, where's the Vietnam invasion?
What about the Soviet Union?
What about the Soviet Union war? What about when they took over Tibet? Do you think you just achieve land of a sovereign nation, by the way, by just asking them for it? They invaded and killed everybody.
What about the border skirmishes with
What about
India
all the border
time?
skirmishes?
Taking over the South China Sea. What about the neo-colonialism in Africa?
China has
but China's peaceful.
constant conflicts.
Here's my biggest issue, okay? We both have kids.
Yeah.
I dread the day when my daughter has to look up for a book report or something, and she goes and looks up in Google to try and find out some stat.
Yeah.
And she gets fed some lie from China that's been
where
manipulated.
We're already there.
And so she makes a big book report, and her entire worldview will be skewed by this idea that China built the first glass bridge.
Yeah.
Okay? And that China's like amazing this and that, and the next thing in America sucks or whatever.
Meanwhile, it's a pile of garbage.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it's false.
Yeah.
It's freaking false. Yeah. And I can't stand that. I can't stand the fact that it's, you tell a lie long enough until people believe it's the truth.
I'm telling you.
And it's so
like that.
freaking annoying.
It's like that now.
Yeah. People in the audience, can you please tell me when the first glass bridge was invented?
Yeah. You figure it out
I would
first.
like to know. And if it's at all possible, if you've got the means, if any of you guys are technicians or you're really good or you know how to flag and report things, can you try and fix that? Because it's not true that the first glass bridge is that stupid one in Zhangjiajie.
Searching glass bridges from Sydney still says Zhangjiajie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
This is an issue.
And this is, again, it sounds like a silly thing, but it's indicative of everything that's happening.
Yeah.
The glass bridge is indicative.
And if you look at what we showed you earlier, if you were to watch a Communist Party fluff piece about that horrible
Santorini,
village,
Donggurini.
that gross village, and let's be honest, it is gross.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
You would think, because of that fluff piece, it's like, oh, the most beautiful village. It's amazing. And it's like the Chinese Santorini. And in your mind, you'd be like, wow, China's got this great, beautiful place to go visit. Meanwhile, it's like fallout from a war.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
It's not nice. It's rubbish.
Bad. It's bad. It's empirically bad.
It's worse than any fishing village
ugly.
you can go to, pretty much anywhere in the world.
It's dirty and ugly.
Yeah.
And so it's the opposite of what is being shown.
Exactly.
Is that not indicative of everything China's doing right now?
Yeah.
And it convinces world leaderships to partner up with it.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The world's fucked, if that's the case. I'm sorry
Correct,
for lack of
yeah.
better words.
Yeah.
If you're following China's leadership on this stuff, get ready to live in China's Santorini.
Yes.
That's your future.
If you want that, yeah. Just imagine going to, as a Chinese person, you go to Santorini, you're like, we got this.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
We have Santorini
we've
at
got
home.
this at home. Yes, yes.
That's the
It's
meme,
like-
dude.
that's what happens, in the car, and it's like, Mom, I want to go to Santorini. We got Santorini at home, and meanwhile, it's just like horrible wasteland with garbage in the ocean.
Santorini.
Yes.
Unsanitary.
Yes, unsanitary. Unsantorini. Dude, okay, sorry, rant over. I know I went on a bit too long, but this glass bridge thing really pissed me off.
Yes.
It really pissed me
Yeah.
off, because it's not true.
Do you have any experience with soap operas?
I hate them.
What is your experience with soap operas?
They suck.
Can you
Okay.
pause that real quick? Bro can't even walk in showing his nips.
Yeah.
Free the nipple.
Oh, no.
Dun, dun, dun.
The foreigner is supposed to be like a monkey on TV. We have to act excitedly over every little thing. He looks creepy.
Hey, look at the TV in the background.
Yes, look at the TV in the background.
Oh, can you give me your... Oh, this is getting
那不好吧？
creepo.
This guy's so unnerving.
I know. No,
Stop.
I hate this. Oh, see how it gets weird? Bro is an expert of Chinese culture, language, opera.
Yeah.
Has dedicated his life, won a scholarship, and he's walking around. People are calling him shit.
When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath.